Hello everyone, and welcome once again to my channel. Today we'll be learning how to solve quadratic equations by factorization method. Now, a quadratic equation are second degree equations or expressions that are in the form of what we have here. This is the general form of quadratic equations: ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0, and a and b are coefficients of x squared and b, while c is a constant. Now, the quadratic equations are second degree equations in x that have a maximum of 2 answers for x. These 2 answers for x are also called the roots of the equation. So whenever you're asked to solve a quadratic equation, you're basically being asked to calculate or look for or find the roots of the equation. Now, let's get straight to the method involved in solving quadratic equations by factorization. Now, when you want to solve by factorization, the first thing you need to do is you multiply the coefficient of x squared with the constant of the quadratic equation. You multiply the coefficient of x squared with the constant. Now, in this equation, the coefficient of x squared is actually 1. And then the constant actually is plus 1. Yeah, it's a positive number. Then the constant is plus 6. So you multiply the coefficient of x squared with the constant, and that will give you plus 6. Now, once you do that, the next thing you do is to look for two numbers. You think up two numbers in which when you multiply them together, you will get plus 6. But when you add them together, you're going to get plus 5. I say it again. First thing you do, you multiply the coefficient of x squared with your constant. Then whatever you get as the answer, you look for two numbers. They are generally factors that when you multiply them together, you're going to get plus 6. But when you add them together, you're going to get plus 5. Now, you start by writing down the factors of plus 6. Now, the combination factors of plus 6 will give you plus 1 and plus 6. When you multiply these together, they give you 6. You also have plus 2 and plus 3, which when you multiply them together, they also give you plus 6. Then you also put minus 2 and minus 3. When you multiply them together, you get plus 6. Okay, so these are the factorial pairs of 6. When you multiply each of these together, it gives you plus 6. But when you add them together, which of them is going to give you plus 5? From what we have here, I can see that the only numbers or pair of numbers that when you add them together will give you plus 5 is this. Plus 2 and plus 6. When you multiply them together, they give you plus 6. Plus 2 and plus 3, multiply them together, rather, they give you plus 6. But when you add them together, they'll give you plus 5. So you now take these two pairs. Now, what do you do with these two pairs? You go back to the original equation, which is x squared plus 5x plus 6. And what do? You take out plus 5x. You take out plus 5x, and then you replace it with plus 2 and plus 3x. Let me show it to you. You go back to the original equation, right? X raised to the power 2. Then you now take out plus 5x, and you now put plus 2x and plus 3x in its place. So you now write plus 2x plus 3x, and then you write the rest of the equation, which is what? Plus 6 is equals to 0. I hope you're following me now. As you can see in this equation, plus 2x plus 3x is the same thing as plus 5x. Okay, so now, when you get to this stage, what do? You now group the equation 2 by 2. You take this, and you take this and this. You now collect the like terms. You collect the like terms out. Here we have x and x, so we have x here. Take x out from here, remaining 1x. Take x from here, remaining what? 2. You also do the same thing here. You collect the like terms. The like terms here will be 3. So you have a plus 3. You take 3 out of here, what is left is x. Take 3 out of here, what is left is 2. Now this is also very, very important. After you have collected the like terms, or what you can call them factorization or simplification, when you collect the like terms from this equation, you have to ensure that what you have here are the same. It has to be the same. If what you have here are not the same in this bracket, then you have made an error. You have to go back and revisit. But as you can see here, we have x plus 2. We also have x plus 2 here. So that means that this is in line. We're in line. We're doing the right thing. So next, what do you do? So what do? First of all, you write this value here, which is x. You come here and take what is here and add to it, which is plus 3. Put it in the bracket. Then you now choose one of these two and write next to it x plus 2 is equal to 0. So now what next do? You now equate each of what you have here to 0. You equate each of what you have here to 0. X does. You now say x plus 3 is equals to 0, or you say x plus 2 is equal to 0. So you now make x the subject of the formula here, and you also make x the subject of the formula here. So making here the x the subject of the formula, you get x is equals to minus 3, and you say making x the subject of the formula, you also have here x is equals to minus 2. So you now have two answers for x, or two values for x, which will now be x is equals to minus 2 or x is equals to minus 3. And that will be your final answer. So let's go to the second example, and let's see if we can get better understanding from here. Now you can see here, this is a quadratic equation, and you can see that we are going to solve this quadratic equation using the factorization method. Now the first thing we do again is we multiply the coefficient of x squared with the coefficient of, with the constant. The coefficient of x squared with the constant, because c is a constant. So when you do that, let's have something like, okay, let's say 6 times, what we have here is minus 5. Please always take note of the signs in front of the numbers or the unknowns. So what we have here is minus 5. So we now have minus 5. 6 times minus 5 is going to give us what? Equals to minus 30. 6 times minus 5 is going to give you minus 30. Now, minus 30, we now look for two factors, two numbers, that when we multiply them together, it's going to give us minus 30. But when we add them together, it's going to give us what? Plus 7. Once we multiply the coefficient of x squared with the constant, in this case the constant is minus 5, we got minus 30. Now we look for two numbers that when we multiply them together, it's going to give us minus 30, but when we add them together, it's going to give us plus 7. And those two numbers are 10 plus 10 and minus 3, plus 10 and minus 3. So what do? Because if you multiply this together, it's going to give you what? Minus 30. And when you add them together, it's going to give you plus 7. So what do we do now? Now that we've gotten the two numbers, we take out plus 7x and we now put these two numbers in its place. So what we have here, we're going to have 6x squared plus 10x minus 3x minus 5 is equal to 0. So you can see that when you say 10x plus 10x minus 3x, it's going to give you plus 7x. So what's next you're going to do? You're going to now what? Group them 2 by 2. So you now say, okay, let me group this here and here. Then what about here? We group this here and here. Now, you now collect the like terms. In this bracket, we have x and 2 as its like term. So we're going to have 2x. Take it out from here. What's going to be left is 3x plus, take away 2x from here. Not taking away, we're actually, dividing, not taking away. So divide this by this, it's going to give you 5. So now, let's look at this one again before we close the bracket. You can see that in this other part of the equation, we have a minus 3x and a minus 5. So we have minus minus. Minus is common to this to these two expressions. Minus is common, so we're going to take minus out of it. Since minus is common and we're taking like terms, we're going to take minus out of it. So minus, you can say minus 1 out of this. So when we take minus 1 out of this, what is left? We have 3x plus 5 is equals to 0. If you expand this bracket with minus 1, it will give you what we have here. So just whenever you're trying to group the expressions together, please take note of the signs. So now the next thing we do here is we write this and this. But first of all, you can see that this and this are the same. They have to be the same, otherwise you've made an error. So now since they're the same, it means that we are correct. So what do? You write, first of all, this expression here, which is 2x, and you add this to it, which is minus 1 in brackets. Then you choose one of these, which is 3x plus 5. Everything is equal to 0. Then now equate each of the expressions in the bracket to 0. 2x minus 1 is equal to 0, or 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. Then in this case, what do? You make x the subject of the formula. You move this to this side, it becomes what? You move minus 1 to the other side, it becomes plus 1. We'll give you 2x is equal to 1. Then to make x the subject of the formula, you divide both sides by 2, which will give you 1 over 2 on this side. Go to the other side. You move plus 5 to the other side, it gives you what? You move plus 5 over the equal sign, it gives you minus 5. And then you make x the subject of the formula by dividing both sides by dividing both sides by 3. So when you divide both sides by 3, x will now be equal to minus 5 over 3. You all know that this is what we call an improper fraction. So when you want to convert it from improper to a mixed number, it's going to give you x is equal to what? 1 whole number minus 1 whole number 2 over 3. So it's equal to minus 1 whole number 2 over 3. So the value for x for this equation will be half, or minus 1 whole number 2 over 3. So that is how you use factorization method to solve quadratic equation. In case it may seem confusing to you, just go back and watch the steps over again and do some more examples, and I'm sure it will become clearer to you. So if you really enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and a like. And also, if you have any questions, drop in the comment section. Hit the notification bell to alert you whenever I drop any of my videos. And I'll see you next time.